I regret not doing this when I bought my first condo. In fact, when I look back at the last 10 years in Toronto real estate, some of the wins and some of the losses in my experience could be something that may help you move up the property ladder in the future for Toronto real estate. I'm Michael Ouzas. I'm a realtor here in the city of Toronto. If you want to discuss your strategy plan for 2025 Toronto real estate and how to set yourself up on the Toronto property ladder, click on that first link below or scan the QR code and book in a spring strategy session directly with me, and we'll go through those ideas together. In one of my previous videos, I spoke about how I regret selling my first condo. And even though that's still something that haunts me today in not keeping that condo, when I first purchased that condo, there were some things that I should have listened to my parents when it came time to buying that first property. My mom and dad are the reason that I am in real estate now, and I learned a ton from them growing up, as we used to work on properties together. My father is also a realtor in the city of Hamilton, and one of the things that they always told me when purchasing property is, how can you add value and how can you purchase a property that will ideally future-proof your value? What if I told you that you make your money buying the property? And that's a lesson that they told me from the get-go. And the reason they said that is because when you're going out to look at property, ideally the best price you get on that property, or when purchasing that property, can you value add? Can you add a secondary suite if you, for example, are buying a freehold property, turn it into a duplex? Or if you're buying a condo, can you maximize your budget a little bit more and purchase something with, for example, a den with parking? Any kind of value add that you can get will definitely help you sell in the future and also help to preserve that initial value. One of my biggest regrets when I bought my first property, and if you watch that video, I purchased for $292,900. I remember at that time, and this is not really something that we're seeing today, but if I would have gone down the street, I could have purchased a freehold house for about $450,000 to $500,000. Now, when I look at those numbers, it was almost double the price. And at the same time, it was also out of my budget. And when I look back, it's like, okay, maybe I could have stretched a little bit to get possibly a 2-bedroom property. That freehold property may have been just a little bit out of reach, but maybe it would have been worthwhile talking with my parents to get that extra down payment, which is only about $20,000 at that time, to really maximize that property. If I look at where that property is at today compared to where that initial condo would be at today, that is certainly a huge jump, because freehold prices have definitely outpaced condos in that time. But looking back, it's one of those things where if you're looking at a condo right now and trying to set yourself up on that property ladder for 4 or 5 years down the line, purchasing something that has a den, has parking, has a great location, has a second bedroom if that's within your budget. And I'm not saying to go and overspend outside of your budget, but what is the best property you can buy within budget at a number that's comfortable for you in today's market? And we are certainly seeing some pretty good deals out there on properties that were way out of reach a couple years ago, even now. And basically the peak was 3 years ago. But if we're looking at condos that will hold their value in the future, having something that's a little more unique and has that value add will definitely help you set you up for success on that property ladder. The next piece of that is, it took me 10 years in Toronto real estate of the property ladder to finally purchase my first freehold property with my wife. We purchased a 7-detached home, which we did a pretty considerable renovation on. But having those properties over that 10-year period of time is certainly what allowed me to get into that freehold market. One of the mistakes that I see the most for buyers looking to get into market is they generally want that home run right off the start, instead of maybe going for a single or a double along the way. There's a lot of hitters in Major League Baseball that have made a pretty good living by hitting singles and doubles throughout the course of their career, and then they add in a few home runs as they go. And I do believe that in real estate, taking that one step at a time approach is certainly something that could work moving forward. The other piece of when looking for that first property to get on the property ladder is, where is the location that you're looking to purchase in, and how can you maximize that property? One of the things I always mention to my buyers is that paint, flooring, lighting goes a long way in these properties. And there are a lot of properties that maybe have not been kept very well by tenants, or they've just haven't really been well maintained over time from those owners. Looking for those properties where most buyers might shun away or dismiss them right off the get-go because the way they look, or even if their realtor is not showing those properties very well online. And if you are a seller watching this video, having your property look the best and stand out is really something that's super important in today's market. Something that we do all the time is prep those properties well so that buyers will be more enticed to buy them. But if you're on the buyer side, looking for those properties that need some work and putting in a little bit of sweat equity could propel your value by 10s, 20s to even $50,000 just by doing a little bit of legwork. So those are something that we're always looking for in how to value add on a property. If you are looking to get into a freehold property, looking for something that needs a little bit of work could also be where you can add that value in the future. That being said, one of the things we are seeing in the market is generally properties are either so far gone that they need a full gut job, or they're already fully renovated. And those are the ones that are selling for the most money in today's market. There are not many that are kind of in between or have renos from 15 years ago that are just kind of stale right now. Even if they are, those properties are still looking for a higher price than the ones that need a full renovation. When thinking about renovations, the costs are so high today that it may not make a ton of sense if you are going to buy that property, put in a significant amount of work, and then get it into today's value. Knowing what those numbers are and how that looks when you are in those properties is certainly something that is important to know as you go along in your real estate journey. The last piece I'll add when looking for property in today's market is that we're seeing that there is basically 10 properties in every $50,000 category. So if we look at a condo that's 500,000 versus something that's 550 versus 600, basically there's 10 properties in each of those $50,000 increments that are the most desirable. And I've been searching to find the absolute 10 out of 10 best properties for my clients within each of their budgets, even going all the way up to 2 million and plus. Finding those properties that where we deem are the best value, going to see some that maybe aren't as good of value, and comparing to what is the most ideal property for them at this given time is certainly something that's super important in today's market, especially if you're looking for a condo. If you're looking for a house and your budget is somewhat limited, being open to different areas, locations, and maybe doing that sweat equity as mentioned could be where you could find that gem of a property in a desirable area that's still maybe not the prime of prime areas in Toronto, but not too far away. For example, looking at the Junction versus Roncy could save you hundreds of thousands of dollars on that purchase price as long as those areas work for you. So those are a couple ways to climb the property ladder, even in a market where the freehold price to condo price is getting exceedingly bigger. But if you can buy one of those properties that has a lot of runway to go, because we saw those properties selling at a certain price point even 3 years ago, that's where you'll do the best going up the property ladder in 2025. If I missed anything that you'd like to add down in the comments so other people can learn from some of the ideas that you've had along the way, comment down below, drop a like, and subscribe. I'm Michael Ouzas. Thanks for watching.